following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
To the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Yo, here I am, and this is the new Pericardium show on W4CY Radio, The Adventures of Pipeman here, and we're going to have Pericardium take over. Pericardium's up in Canada, about ready to take over at some point in time, and it has something to do with your heart. I don't know. I don't even know how to pronounce it, so I don't know what it is. We'll have to have our resident expert Dr. Nicole Fortin, when we bring her on the show, we'll have to have her explain it. In the meantime, we thought last week that we had a crazy week before to talk about. It's even crazier this week, if you can imagine. Like, man, being in America in 2024, you just wake up to surprises every single day, you know, and so let's bring our pipe nuts on, because we're going to talk a little bit about all the craziness going on, and then we're going to talk about the heart and pericardium. So, and we could bring Dr. Nicole on too, and we'll just make fun of her until it's time for her to speak.
Okay.
Rebel,
Rebel,
the camera's up here. Rebel, the camera's up here. Okay, pay attention. You are live.
I am.
Okay. And you run our Louisiana studio, because I'm not allowed in Louisiana because I'm a Yankee and I'm a Jew, and they don't allow my type in your area. Okay.
They do too.
But they do allow alligators in your area. So I would like to know, Rebel, how do you know?
Yes.
And I learned this morning on TikTok. Okay. I learned something new today on TikTok about Louisiana. Okay. So how do you know in Louisiana when there are alligators in the water? What kind of tests do you do, and how do you figure it out?
If you can see the water, there's alligators in it.
If you can see what?
If you can see water, there's alligators in it.
That is absolutely the right answer, because this TikTok, the lady went down to the canal or whatever.
See the water?
She stuck her hand in the water, brought it up to her face, and then she said, if it gets you wet, there's an alligator. So I want to ask our resident expert in Hispanic studies, Juan, okay? So is that the same in our neighbors to the border of the South, okay? How do you, and I just saw something today that I want to know about. Did you know, Juan, that I didn't know this because I've gone to Tijuana, there's a wall along the border of in the water. So people can't get from Tijuana to the United States. And basically, people try to swim around this wall, and because the water is so rough, nobody ever makes it. Were you aware of that? Or are you one of the people that succeeded and got around the wall?
Well, first of all, I don't know how to swim, so there's that. But I think the one you're talking about is the one like at the very end.
Yeah.
Where like it's on the Pacific, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
So Do you know anybody that has gotten around that wall?
Not
Wait.
personally, no.
You're saying the wall is in the water?
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. It goes out into
Does
the
it go
ocean.
the water, or is it only under the water?
And it's got like really sharp edges. So what happens is you swim out and the water's so rough, it slams you into these sharp edges of the wall. And you probably die. I don't know. It could happen. You're probably going to drown.
Well, they
Let's
just
put it
did
that
it,
way.
maybe.
So
That's
I say,
Failed and drowned.
just put alligators in the water.
That won't work either.
No,
Knowing Mexicans, they will probably convert them into boots, belts, and wallets.
I was thinking
That
maybe
is
they
not going
don't.
to work.
I was just thinking maybe alligators don't like Mexican food.
No. We'll
Who
make
doesn't
them
love a
into wallets,
taco?
boots.
sure they're not picky.
Enchiladas.
Listen, like here in South Florida, we eat alligator's tail. Like
We do
that's
too.
dishes that we have.
I do. Nicole just said, "Who doesn't love tacos?" I do love Mexican tacos, but I'm not talking about the.
Imagine a gator tail taco.
That would actually be pretty good, but I
Right.
prefer a pure Mexican taco. It is not food though.
Muy picante.
See,
Wow.
Yeah.
Group one.
yeah,
Okay,
no,
back to alligators. We had an alligator pizza as a special at the Stampede this year.
wow.
A
Nice.
festival. They have all this different foods every year, and yeah, it was
Real
alligator
pizza.
was the meat of choice.
I think
Hmm.
like if you're gonna make a pizza with alligator on it, have it like an alligator eating a raccoon.
I don't
Why?
know if anyone would want to eat raccoons. This is the trash pandas.
Well, they're not bad though.
In their defense, they eat squirrel and raccoon here. So
Oh
see?
yeah, alligators. Alligator.
See?
I was talking about
I'll leave it at
the
alligator.
The
Yeah,
raccoons.
No, Rebel's not talking about
Raccoons.
alligators. She's talking about Louisiana people, the Bayou people. They eat raccoon and
Squirrel.
squirrels and
Squirrel and bunnies are good.
and tourists. They're famous for eating tourists.
I've heard that before actually.
I would
Actually,
have thought that was more like Miami. Remember that guy?
yeah. Well, wait. Okay, so
guy.
Juan, did you know this one? Okay, so I dated this girl that lived out in Okeechobee.
Hmm.
She was a Jehovah's Witness. If that wasn't
Oh,
bad
God.
enough, if that wasn't bad enough, she told me about. I didn't even know this existed. Okay, so you know the Everglades part out there,
Yeah.
near Okeechobee,
Mhm.
not, and so her family are pirates out there in the Everglades, like for real, like
Yeah,
like
they still
rape,
have pirates.
like raping and murdering people, and
I
they're
don't
like lit.
know about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and living out there in the Everglades near Okeechobee, Florida, and like, so don't be wandering out there because you think you're just worrying about the alligators, but at least the alligator will give you a ride away from the pirates. But
Yeah.
it is a true story, though. It is true. So I was a
Most part.
little, I was a little nervous, Rebel. In fact,
Why?
she was at one of our events one time. But
Oh,
imagine pissing her off. Like
Can I ask you a
you're,
question?
yeah,
sure.
You said she was a Jehovah Witness, right?
yes.
How long did you date her for?
Not very long once I found out about the pirates that might,
Okay. Did it get
kidnap
to the
and
point where
kill
she
me if
came
I
to
hurt
visit
her.
you? Did she visit you at home?
Yeah, she came to my home.
When she knocked on the door, did you open the door?
Unfortunately, yes.
Ah, go ahead
Have
and
I-
tell him.
Have I told you guys the times I've been able to successfully? I'm going to start a seminar how to successfully get rid of the Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay.
Oh, I need to hear this.
No,
Okay. So the first one, I was a teenager, and when I was a teenager, I used to blast my music through my guitar amplifier. So they come to the door. I'm wearing an Ozzy Diary of a Madman shirt, which is where he kind of looks like the devil on the shirt. And I have in the background Slayer, something like, I am the Antichrist, all love is lost. Insanity is what I am. Eternally, my soul will rot, playing while they come to the door. And I just looked at him very seriously, and I was like, yeah, I'm a devil worshiper. You want to see the Jehovah's Witnesses run? They will never come back to your house.
I had a buddy of mine who made them run one time. It was two older ladies who knocked on his door, and he like literally just said, "Okay, they've been knocking like every day for a whole week. I'm opening the door for them for the first time." But he got naked first, and then he just
I knew that's
swung
where
the
it
door
was
open.
going.
He swung the door open. He was like fully naked, like his family behind him.
Yep. I saw that coming. I was gonna say he's got like, you tell them, oh, I have some toys in
And
the
it was
other
like two
room.
older ladies, like 70 years old or something like that. Yeah.
I think they've seen and heard it all. And I don't know, I've always admired the JVs because they're probably the most relentless, determined,
I want to
salespeople
hire
out
them
there.
as
They are
sales.
salespeople,
I want to
yeah.
hire them
Yeah.
as salespeople for the
Yeah.
network. To be honest,
Like they never let up.
they don't
Well,
take
not
no
never,
for an
but
answer.
yeah.
That goes to my next story. Okay, so now fast forward probably like 10 years. I'm married with kids. I'm working one day. I come home, and on the dinner table, I see the watchtower. And I go to thing one. I'm like, what is that? I mean, I knew what it was. So it wasn't that kind of what is that. It was like, what is that? Like, we're about to have an argument. And she goes, oh, they just, they stopped by here. And I'm like, and you let them in the house? She's like, yeah, I didn't want to be mean or rude. And I'm like, they will never leave. You don't let them in the house. Okay.
As you're saying this, they're having tea on the sofa.
Yeah. So, well, fast forward a few days. It's Saturday, and I happen to be home, and they come knocking at the door, and she says, "You got to answer it. I can't say no to them, and I know you can, and I can't." And so I go answer the door, and they ask for my wife. I'm like, she told me to answer the door because she's too nice. She can't say no to you. I am not nice, and I have no problem saying no to you. And and they're like, well, blah, blah, blah. We're Jews. We're not interested. Well, that's not the impression we got from your wife. And that
What
was
else did you get from my wife while you were here?
yeah, that was a bad trigger to pull. I'm like, yeah,
no.
because
She
she won't be mean. I will. So I'm telling you right now, we're not interested. And if you ever come back here again, you probably will never leave. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. And I slammed the door. They never came back. They would have been, listen, my ex-wife, thing one, she was a redneck, half hillbilly. We could have gave those Jehovah's Witnesses to her family for the family reunion barbecue.
Hey, I have a question. What's the difference between a redneck and a hillbilly?
So,
Oh,
first of all, one of them has a red neck and the other doesn't. Okay, that's just the obvious answer. Okay, the hillbillies are from the mountains. Rednecks are from like the swamps, the flatlands. Basically, that's what it comes down to. And do you know what a cracker is? Because that's what we have in Florida. We have rednecks, hillbillies, but a native Floridian is a cracker. Do you know what a cracker is?
Yeah, like I think it's like a saltine cracker, a white cracker. But I imagine like in Florida, you got a pretty good pan going on.
Yeah, they eat saltine crackers, okay? Because it's all they can afford. They can't afford anything more than a saltine cracker. Believe it or not, is an old term that came from the time of slavery. And that's what they used to call the Florida slave owners, crackers, because they would crack the whip on the slaves. So Next time
New
one of these
perspective.
proud crackers in Florida says this stuff, punch them in the face.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
wait.
always thought it
Did I
wasn't
say
a
that
nice
out loud?
term. I
Don't
didn't think it was a
resort
nice
to
term.
violence, please.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
We're promoting love here today.
okay? And here's what I
Yeah.
have to say. Okay, here's what I have to say about all this. Forget promoting love and all that crap, because listen, President Biden is so old that he fell out of the presidential race. He tripped and he fell out of the race, okay? And then
Physically or metaphorically?
I think
Both.
in every way, that's what happened. Is like he tripped and fell, and they're like, Joe, you can't do this anymore. And then all of a sudden, all the Democrats, they all got against him. And then finally, the grandfather of all Democrats in this current time, President Obama, said, Joe, you need to step aside.
You gotta
And-
go.
And
Joe.
and that made room for the Brat.
Brat.
Because we now
Yeah.
have the Brat running for president. Does any
Which I knew it was gonna happen, because and that money that was raised for
they already said,
Biden's
yeah.
campaign, that's all gonna go towards her campaign now.
Right. They said it's an easy, before this all went down,
Yeah.
they said it's an easy transition because it automatically goes to her.
Exactly.
Like if
Yeah.
there was somebody else,
She's
it
the only one
wouldn't.
that benefits from Biden, not
And they
running.
were talking about Hillary. There was conspiracy. Hillary was
No.
so Hillary and Bill were the first ones to endorse Kamala. Now, I think it would have been interesting if they brought Hillary in, because it's like celebrity death rematch. Okay, and so
Who's
it would have been.
gonna get to first?
It would have been. I think it would have been so interesting. Like, but I have to tell you, I don't care Republican, Democrat, or Jedi. It doesn't matter. I don't give a frick. Thank God we have somebody that is like pre-dementia age. Thank God we have somebody younger that actually can move faster than a snail. Thank God we have somebody that actually smiles, because Donald, I've never seen him smile. Okay. And, Joe was incapable of smiling. He had the hollow eyes.
Sure he was. Just let him smell something that was proper.
He had those hollow eyes. Did you notice that? When there's a certain age where you're, and we're going to have Dr. Nicole jump in on this.
Yeah, let's talk more about that.
Because there is this point in time, and I bet they believe this in traditional Chinese medicine, where something happens to the eyes, because the eyes are like the center of everything. And you could see in that debate, Joe was like not there. I had a grandmother that had Alzheimer's, and I saw that look in the eyes. There's a certain look that they get in the eyes when they start getting either Alzheimer's, dementia, or they're just on their way. Their one foot's on banana peel, the other one is in the unknown soldiers cemetery.
Okay, we need to stop right there before we get in trouble. We are not. This is for general purposes. We are having
no. I'm just saying, like, how many people do you know Joe's age that are still alive? Okay, today, by the way, is my father's birthday. My father would have probably, he would have been older than Joe, but he died before Joe's age. Okay, there's not many people that make it to Joe's age, but when you're walking,
isn't he at least 70 something?
He's 81 years old, and when you walk like you did when you were first starting to walk with those little steps, that's when you're on your way. Like, he slipped on a banana peel and fell out of the presidential race. I want Dr. Nicole to chime in on this from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective and tell us about that eyes thing. Am I right, or am I just being Pipeman?
Well, right now I'm just imagining like a video game of Mario Kart. where the
Yeah.
banana peels are all strewn around.
No, that's Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong is the banana peels is better.
Yeah, but Donkey Kong is part of Mario Kart. No.
That's the sound of
Okay,
Donkey Kong.
the eyes, the eyes tell no secrets. So, the eyes relate to your spirit or your shen. So you can tell. I mean, there's a lot to read about the eyes, but in general, you can see through like someone's soul, right? They're the windows of the soul.
Yeah,
And then
that's why
when death
Rebel
comes,
wears those glasses that wiggle around so nobody can see how dark her soul is. But go on. I'm sorry, Dr. Nicole.
right? Yeah, but you're the one that wears glasses all the time. So
Exactly.
what do you got to hide?
I'm Satan.
I wear glasses all
I'm
the
Satan
time.
himself. And I'm a
Okay.
Jew. We don't even believe in Satan. So if I believed in Satan, I'd be Satan.
Right.
Because I am the Antichrist. All love is lost. Insanity is what I am. Eternally, my soul will rot. That
Slayer.
is the actual lyrics of a Slayer song called The Antichrist.
Right.
But anyway, go on, Dr. Nicole. But do you agree with me, though, that once the light starts dimming in the brain, the light dims in the eyes?
Yeah, will be reflected. And then when we talk about death, it's like separation of your body and your spirit. So as you see the dimmingness, that's we're kind of born into this life with a certain amount of essence, or I don't know, I don't want to call it spirit, but it's like we're brought into this world. We have a certain amount, and then it goes low, 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 and then it's done. So you can see maybe the eyes but you can also see that when someone who's like really separated after a traumatic event, like there's a lot of ways you can see that through the eyes. But yeah, I mean, in this instance, I agree with you. It's a little lost. No shen, no spirit.
Rebel.
There's nothing really to connect to.
Rebel, we got to see what Louisiana's education system's all about. So I'd like to know from you, Rebel.
Yes.
Why is Kamala a brat?
It's a good question.
I don't know why
You don't know either, Dr. Nicole?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, well, hold on. I want to hear the Louisiana response.
I really don't know anything about this woman.
I'll bet you Juan knows.
Go ahead, Juan.
I'll bet you. Juan, do you know?
Are we saying brat as in like she's a brat, or like brat as in brats?
No, we're saying, and see, you should know, Juan. I'm ashamed that you're from the younger generations, okay? Because it's actually this whole platform to get the Gen Z voters. So brat, I don't know if you've seen on TikTok or stuff, like the slang kids are using nowadays, like you need translation more than ever. Like I watched this TikTok, it's this mom, and she's trying to find out what her daughter's saying because she's speaking a foreign language, and it's really just new slang. So brat means cool, okay? It's a Gen Z term for cool, and here it's more than that. It's more than that because it has serious meaning to it. Unapologetic, messy, brash, internet it girl, womanhood, which some describe as the antidote to the perfectionism of the clean girl aesthetic. So basically, to translate for those people that don't understand in Louisiana because of the education system, that means instead of the Barbie types, it's the hot mess, messy, I'm just being me, female that's totally cool because they're not Barbie. And that's what a brat is. And
yeah,
so
I thought you meant like a Bratz doll, kind of like the big head,
there's those
small
brats.
body.
yeah, it's similar. It's a similar thing, and that's probably where they got it from. And so there's this music artist that has like this font and color for brat, and now there's a whole thing. Now you'll see if you go on Instagram that Kamala, it's on the news. Kamala has like her logo and stuff on different things with the brat colors and the brat font. And,
How old is she?
She's like 56, I think.
Yeah, she's 20 years younger than Trump. So here's what I have to say too. Okay, this has nothing to do with parties. I hate the bull crap of the division and the parties and this and that. Has nothing to do with who to vote for, who not to vote for, or what have you. But one thing I can say that I am very happy about, and I'm being dead serious, that there's actually people getting excited about the election, and there's a lot of like positive energy going on now, because there was none with Biden. Okay, his own party wasn't excited. His own party was like, and like that. Do you know that Kamala in 24 hours raised more than any presidential candidate in history? And it is pretty wild to me. Like, I just think it's pretty wild that if she does get elected, not only is she the first woman president, she's the first woman, Black, Indian, Asian president. So that goes along with you, Nicole, because she's Asian. So I know you're from Canada.
It fits right together.
Yeah, well, I know you're from Canada, so you need to hurry up and get your residency, your citizenship in the United States, and vote for the Asian candidate.
Right. Letting people who aren't residents vote. Might as well just throw the vote in.
Yeah, just mail that in.
Yeah, just mail it in. Did I ever tell you what happened to me in real life? So in Wellington, I went to vote, and they gave me my voting material, and I told them that's not me because it has your name on it and stuff. And I'm like, that's not me. And they're like, yes, it is. I'm like, I'm telling you, I think I know who I am, and that's not me. And then I'm trying to show them, because they didn't ask me for my ID. And I'm trying to show them my ID to prove that it's not me, and you gave me the wrong voting stuff, and they did not want to see my ID. I literally had to make a big stink and finally get somebody in charge to say, does that look like me? And
that's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, but Florida's famous for always screwing up elections anyway.
Okay.
It's either us or Texas every election. Every election, it's us or Texas.
Oh God, I live in Florida and I'm from Texas, so that kind of hit me.
Yeah, now it all makes sense. See, Trump is right. It's because of you people coming over the border and trying to vote in both states.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Here it's like if you're based on the census, your name, they have it all by region, so you have to go to a designated spot.
So do we.
To vote, and then they have your name.
That's why
on
they have your
a piece of paper. Yeah, and then they cross off your name when you show up, and
yeah, they crossed off whatever name it was. It wasn't my name.
Weird.
And then I think it's very appropriate. Okay, so I think maybe the powers that be had something to do with Chad being unalive. Now that I think about it, I didn't think about this before, but it was shortly after the Chad thing that happened with the voting in Florida. So I think that somebody felt he was the cause of the election being lost due to the hanging Chad, because he was like hanging out at the voting booths.
He was playing pranks?
What do you think, Rebel? You were here. Did that even occur to you, Rebel?
No.
Maybe that's
totally
just my like weird hypothesis. I don't know.
I'm gonna go with your weird hypothesis. This
You mean he was playing tricks on you from the other side?
No. When he was alive, we had the debacle that caused Gore the election of the hanging Chad in Florida. And Chad just happened to be hanging out at the voting booths. So I don't know. It might be related.
I don't think so. I'm
okay.
saying no.
I'll go with you, Rebel. because it did sound a little outlandish to me, but that was in the Pipeman brain. So
Glad you let it out.
So we
Some things
traded
just let out.
we traded in my condo association president for a Brat doll. And so now it's the Brat doll against the Chucky doll for president of the United States of America.
Chucky.
And let's not forget Pipeman.
Oh, you don't mean the actual Chucky doll?
No, I mean the other one with the orange hair.
Oh, I was going to vote for the actual Chucky doll, but
no, you have to vote for Pipeman because here I have some new platforms.
How about the alligator or the raccoons? There was a promo for hiring a raccoon as mayor of Toronto one year.
I remember that.
He won, didn't he?
Yeah. That trash will always be taken out.
Yeah, and how about people that leave in their will, they leave money to their cat? Okay, like I'm sorry. You can love that cat as much as you want. That's the stupidest shit I ever heard in my life.
But
okay,
think about it. That's the only thing they got unconditional love from, and all.
But
the rest
how?
of
What is the
they
cat
do.
gonna do? The cat can't get cash to check.
No, but there's
Like, come
obviously
on.
someone who's taking care of the cat would be responsible for the cat's needs.
No, it's the cat's decision. The cat is the executor of the will. What do you do?
I'll take care of the cat. I'll translate for him too.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
The cat
So-
says we need a new car. The cat says we need a new house.
I do love all the positive excitement going on. Now I think we have a fight. Like before, it was just like we had a debate, and it was like the bully just beat up on the nerdy kid while he was down on the ground flopping like a fish. And now we have. Think of this. Think of this. This is the prosecutor, attorney general against the 34-time convicted felon. Like, if that's not a celebrity death match, I don't know what isn't. Okay? And me, Pipeman, and we're going to have to run the commercial in a second here, Juan, so cue it up. I am going to tell you right now that I vow that if I'm elected president, I will get 35 convictions of felonies.
Why not 36? Make it even.
Good idea. One for good luck.
I don't like odd numbers.
Kind of like a birthday cake. One for good luck.
There you go.
Or like the birthday spankings. Speaking of birthday
Not much
spankings,
felony on
Rebel,
there.
you're wearing those pigtails there. Do you like birthday spankings?
Depends on who's giving them.
Who do you like them from? Who do you not like them from? And let's just say number one person, let's start with number one person you don't like them from. Who is it?
The number one person I don't like them from. I don't
Why don't you
like-
think about that while we run the Pipeman for Prez campaign? Because now, Kamala's really heating it up, so I need to run my campaign now. I was like not worried when Joe was sleeping, but now like she's really pumped up, and I have to go out there and say, we're gonna pump you up. Do it, Juan, roll it.
Hey folks, this is Bill Clinton. I listen to W4CY.com. And just remember, I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Look, Nicole's trying not to laugh. She's holding back so
Bring
hard.
back the good old days, and I will have sexual relations with that woman. Vote Pipeman for Prez.
But I won't have sexual relations with Hillary Rotten
Was
Clinton.
that it? That was your campaign?
That's my campaign. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, listen, free Groupon for everybody that votes for me. Come on.
Oh, God, it's hilarious. Well, you're gonna have to be serving a lot of people.
Listen, if I'm going to run for president, it's my job to serve.
Yeah.
Like,
Serve what?
whatever works inside of them.
Oh my God.
As long as
Free pearl necklaces for everybody.
Well, I prefer to give them pearls opposed to pearl necklaces.
Where would these pearls be placed at?
Don't ask. Don't ask.
So Trump's bunkie was an expert at that. So I
Really?
got it from Trump's bunkie.
Yeah.
So
I won't
What are
ask.
your other platforms, Pipeman? You're running
So
for president?
I want to say a couple more things, and then we have to get to talk about Pericomo. So
Pericardium.
first of all, happy birthday, Dad. Yeah, here's something
Happy
probably
birthday.
none of you know. Well, Rebel probably knows because she was there. Do you know that both my parents, when I got the text message that they died, both were during an Adventures of Pipeman live show? Like
Wow.
literally, and I didn't even skip a beat. Like I got the text message. We weren't on video then, so I could look at my phone. And I got the text message, and I literally, you remember this, Rebel? When my dad passed away, literally the guest, okay, this is the weirdest shit ever. Literally the guest on my show was promoting biodegradable cremation things that like you threw them in the ocean and they were biodegradable.
Or you plant
So-
them or
So
other things.
you remember that? And this lady's pitching these biodegradable urns, and I get a text message that my dad passed away. Like that's so my dad though, because he's like way more of a character than I am. And I could see him on the other side doing that as a joke. Like, I guarantee that's what happened. Like, I'm going to fuck with you. Okay. And that's what happened. He went to the other side and he's like, he probably paid somebody here, go on the show and then do it right at this time. And I'll have him send the text message. And it was, you were there, Rebel, right? I'm not lying about this. Like,
He's not.
it literally, I couldn't believe it. Like, it blew my freaking mind, you know? And so, yeah. So then what happened was I did take a commercial break. I went out onto the terrace by the studio where the bar is downstairs. And there was somebody that worked at the pet store nearby. And basically she was a nudist and she was very drunk. So I decided to do what Richie Piper, my dad, would want done on that show. And I brought her up and had her take her clothes off live on the air. That was my dedication to my father. You know, I was just paying him back because the first time I ever showed up to Florida, the first place he took me to was the strip club. So I was just repaying the favor. I did that when I got married too. Like when I met my stepmother, he says to me, meet your new stepmother or meet your new mother, and we're moving to California in 3 days and you can't tell a living soul ever. True story, word for word. So when I met Thing One, it was after work. I used to go on the Sea Escape here in Fort Lauderdale with my dad 3 times a week and gamble on the gambling ship. I was in the investment business at the time, so I used to gamble with other people's money all day, and then I'd go gamble my money. And I used to call it my second job, you know, because I was doing good. I was making money actually every week until Thing One. And then I brought her on the cruise, and within a half an hour, I lost $900. So with my
Did
mental,
you give her a life jacket before you threw her off the boat or what?
no, I applied my own mental illness and took her up to the top deck and got on a knee in an Armani suit and proposed because I needed. No wonder my daughter does that shit. I needed something to make me feel better because I lost $900. So then at the end of the
So
cruise,
that was the idea?
yeah. So then at the end of the cruise, and like I had only known her for 3 weeks at that point. And at the end of the cruise, we're sitting down in the bar, because that's what would happen. My dad and I would gamble separately, because if you know gamblers, don't mess with them while they're gambling. So we would be separate, because if I would talk to him, get away from me, go to the other side of the casino. And so we would meet at the bar at the end of the cruise after the casino closes. So he comes down, and I said to him, meet your new daughter-in-law. So just like I did now, I gave his own line back to him. Of course, that was kind of a stupid move on my part, obviously, because there was a thing 2. So obviously thing 1 was not the right one. Just saying, but she is available for anybody out there that wants somebody. She is available, and I'll be glad live over the air to give you her phone number.
And here we switch over to the dating game. So what people who didn't want, you might want.
So, okay, but now let's switch gears and go to the Perry Como show. And with our special guest star, Dr. Nicole Fortin. She is a specialist in Northern medicine. Oh, wait, no, it's not Northern.
Yeah.
I was thinking because you're up in Canada, it's Northern.
Yeah, I know, that's a
medicine.
good one. I've never considered that before.
Are you like Glenda, the witch of the north, the good witch of the north? There are no good witches. They're all bad witches, which is what makes them good. Like, because I don't want a goody two shoes witch. I want a witch that's a little bad. You know what I'm saying?
Someone can stir the pot a little bit.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Stir something.
Toss a little something.
But let's talk about Perry Como. What is Perry Como anyway?
What do you want to know?
Okay. So Juan's fully confused, because, and probably the listeners are confused. Rebel knows what's going on here, but let me. It's here. Wait.
Yeah. What a pig. Okay. So like.
There it is. There it is. Okay. There it is.
It's quite a picture. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean.
Can you describe that picture? Can you do me a favor and describe that picture to us?
Yeah, that is okay. Imagine a piece of chicken, and you've got like the chicken breast, and then there's like that thin film over top of it. It's kind of like there you go. Yeah, but instead of chicken breast, this is actually a human heart, and the surrounding layer is the pericardium.
That looks like my heart after thing 1 got done with it. Okay, that's what it looks like to me. Okay?
Yeah, ripped to shreds.
And brown.
That looks like yellow. Yeah, I mean, there's no life in that. Like that, those eyes are gone.
Yeah, there hasn't been life in that since.
I don't even know that I heard what you said. I'm gonna leave it though.
I said there hasn't been life in my heart since.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. That's why you don't want to show your eyes. It's like heartless, cold. I'm just kidding. It's maybe it's a protective thing. Maybe because your pericardium, the layer around your heart, is exposed, that you have to take extra forms of protection for yourself.
Well, what that picture looks like to me is like I had a bad day and my condom ripped, and now I'm a dad. That's what
it does look like. It kind of is a condom. It adds that layer, the protection layer. It adds lubrication. It creates connection between people.
Yeah. And the whole time during your show yesterday, the language of healing that's on our women's station, W4WN Radio, W4WN.com, our women's empowerment station, 2:00 every Tuesday. Dr. Nicole Fortin has the language of healing. And yesterday, and I co-host yesterday on there, the whole time I was thinking with this Perry Como thing is that,
Here we go, Rebel. This is coming.
Yeah, What's coming? What's coming?
Your words.
Oh, yeah. So here's what I was thinking the whole time. You're sitting there describing a piece of chicken, which I can see that in that picture. Okay. But the whole time I was thinking of the skin around the ball sack.
Okay. You want to talk
So-
about that? I love
Well,
that.
no, I'm saying, isn't that the same thing? It's like
It's
the
like
skin around the ball sack is protecting your balls, and
yeah,
the pericardium is protecting your heart.
that's right. Yeah. And then
But
even
if you get
inside all
kicked
your
in the balls, it still hurts, and if you get kicked in the heart, it still hurts.
yes.
I
That's
feel
the
a little
point.
blue.
Yeah. It just takes a little bit of the shockwave away, not all of it. Yeah. Cuts the blow.
There it is.
Yeah,
The
there we go.
glasses make a return. You know, Rebel, that does. You have much nicer eyes now, Rebel. Just saying.
Thank you very much.
See the eyes, can tell, that's a nice round eye like that is very emotionally expressive person. No problems expressing
By the way,
themselves.
did you see there is a funny thing on TikTok out there of this Asian dude doing an impression of a American dude?
Okay.
Like, yeah, he's doing this. He's like going like this. He's, and if you want to go to the bubbly dot.
I think American impersonations are funny. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Especially
Let's
being
hear
Canadian.
your impression of an American. As a Canadian, what's your impression of an
I
American?
don't know. Which way to the beach?
It's not that way. See, you know, you're Canadian. You're going the
That would be
wrong way.
that's like such a California thing to do.
So,
yeah.
yeah, we used to ditch school and hitchhike.
Or
through
the
canyon to the
hillbillies. I
beach.
don't know if we have the hillbillies. We don't call them the hill people like that.
Go watch the show Beverly Hillbillies, and then
Okay,
you'll
yeah.
know what a hillbilly is.
Okay.
Right there. Hillbillies are like, I don't know.
They wear the
Pa.
suspenders.
They
the
got
overalls.
the straw in their mouth. They
got
got
the banjo.
their hat.
But what's the
and their
difference between a
banjo and-
isn't that like also kind of a redneck? Like
Well, no, the rednecks, they have straw in their mouth too, but their hat's different. Like
Okay.
a hillbilly will have like some weird hat on, whereas a redneck usually will have like a baseball cap on, something like that. Okay.
Okay.
Rednecks
So it's like-
tend to do bandanas more than hillbillies. Hillbillies do more overalls.
Okay.
Okay. And how they do a barbecue is different. Okay, because hillbillies generally
Okay,
do
that's very culturally different then.
yeah.
Definitely.
Hillbillies are like, I don't know, Paul. What do you think about them people down there below? They're a bit crazy, aren't they? We don't go down there to town because we up there in these hills and stay away from them people.
You can also
People
tell
like-
the difference between them because one will have like a wife beater shirt on and one will have an actual t-shirt.
Yeah. Also,
hillbillies are usually like in the Appalachian Mountains, and they're seen as like low intelligence people. That's like one of the
because they're away from society. They're up in the mountains, like they stay away
they're more
from
like
society.
But they
self-sustained.
probably have more knowledge than most because they know how to live off the land and they know how to survive
Yeah.
without
Yeah,
being
Well,
they
because
live off the
only
land.
because they're eating
Yeah.
other humans from down below.
You got to do what you got to do.
But also hillbillies, they there was something else I was going to say about them that's different, but now I lost it. But definitely, I think hillbillies might have more teeth than rednecks. It's close. It's
Okay.
definitely close. Okay, and there's something else about it. But meanwhile, let's talk about the pericardium, and I'll think about that and probably
said
Yeah.
interrupt.
right.
Well,
interrupt
Yeah, I know
you.
you did. Yeah. Yeah, well, yesterday you were also, wanting to bring in, the pericardium happy hour. What is that even? It's just a time where it's a social time where you should be enjoying interactions with others, a lighthearted manner. It really sets you up for good life, good sleep. You wanted to bring up Trent Reznor yesterday. I felt a little getting closer. It's a good intimate time, 7 to 9 p.m. Okay, it's after dinner. Your body's got its nutrients, and then all the heart, the blood and the oxygen's going to your heart. So it's time for communication and social happy hour,
I also
with or without
feel,
alcohol.
I also feel no. See, I feel the happy hour for pericardium is you drink blood. That should be the happy hour.
I mean,
So-
there is blood moving around. You are receiving blood.
So the question is, when a vampire
Yes.
goes in and pulls your heart out of your body, does it include pericomo?
Oh, for sure it does. If you're getting through the heart, you are definitely taking that support system with it. It's
So it's
it might try to resist. It might put up a good fight, but yeah, you would take it.
I'm
And
gonna-
probably the tongue with it too. Did you know that you can rip out the tongue and pull the heart with it?
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
want to try that. We're going to
Dark
try that
edition.
We're going to try that next week on the Adventures of Pipeman. We're going to get somebody to volunteer to do that and see what happens. So nobody's going to want to miss next week's show.
So the tongue and the heart are connected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you say I'm
anatomically.
speaking from the heart,
Yeah.
that's like
exactly.
a literal sense, or
Yeah, literal.
Well,
Oh my
and
gosh.
also,
There's
it's
so many
why-
literal things. We should do a whole episode on that too. If someone's full of hot air, that also is an expression, anyway.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Pipeman, what did you have?
Well, I was just going to say it makes sense because what happens when you stick your tongue in somebody else's mouth, their heart pounds.
Mhm.
So it makes sense
and
they're connected.
other things.
Does that mean your tongue is connected to everybody's heart or just your own?
Okay, yeah, just your own. But I mean, if you want to spread the love, that's a good way to do it. Also with your hands. Tongue. It's a magical time.
Hey Juan, do you have another show after this that's live or is it already set up?
no, it's already set up.
Okay, good. Because I want to give Nicole a little more time here. So first, let's just say, Nicole, tell people how they can reach out to you, how they can contact you, what you're all about, what kind of services do you offer people, and about your radio show, TV show, podcast. And you have about 5 seconds to get it all in.
Okay, the language of
Take your
healing.
time.
The language of healing, Instagram, Facebook, on the W4WN network, Women for Women Network, Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And what am I all about? Good life living. I like to get back into the roots, ancient medicine for a modern world. Let's take some of these traditional aspects and use them to our advantage today. Remember who we are, remember where we came from, and try to transmute as much negative into positive space, so leave the world a little bit brighter and lighter, because there's a lot of heavy and stress, and so there's ways to unravel that and master your emotions. I think that's a big part of my life and what I like to share with others.
And what kind of services do you offer your clients or people that need your services?
Yeah, well, we have acupuncture, of course, all sorts of body work. I'm literally talking to your body and in that conversation, balancing it out, and coaching, one-on-one and group coaching, also with emotional wisdom training. So you can reach out to me if you're curious about that at all. Want to know more? Tune in also to the language of healing. And what else?
Well, we should give a dedication right now, since you brought that up, to Kate Michaels. Because if it weren't for Kate Michaels, you and I wouldn't be connected here on this show right now. So, and she's the brainchild of emotional wisdom training. So maybe you could give a brief explanation of what that is.
Yeah, well, Kate Michaels, dear person to me, close to my heart. And I was thinking even yesterday as we're talking, she would have so many words of wisdom, She is a master communicator, and she could really help people dig deep or shed light on what kept them stuck in a certain pattern or what you were reacting to that for. And I mean, it's a real powerful process to take a look at something and transform it. I don't know if I use that word a lot, but it's like, that's kind of how I see it. It's like metamorphosizing, and that's evolution. If we stop growing and learning and we stay stuck, that's death, so we don't want to be stagnant. We want to be always breathing and living and expanding. Sometimes there's contraction with that. It's the ebbs and flows of life, and not to get too caught up in it. I don't know if that explained any of it, but
No, but it definitely explained the presidential election this last week, because all I was thinking about in that last thing you were saying is we had the dead person fall out of the election and the brat fall into it.
yeah, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end.
There it
Something
is.
like that. Yeah.
Rebel, do you have any final words from Louisiana? I know
Also,
you
I wanted
guys
to say
only-
everyone's
Oh.
hair looks great. Sorry to interrupt. I love everyone's hair. It looks fantastic. I think Juan got a fresh haircut. Looks
did.
fresh. Nice.
Did you use the Flowbee one? You know, do you know what the Flowbee is, Juan?
No.
Okay, so they used to have these infomercials way back when, and it's this thing that you can cut your own hair, and it hooks to like the vacuum, and it sucks.
Oh, yeah,
the
from
hair up
Wayne's
and
World.
cut it. But here's the funniest thing. George Clooney, in an interview recently, just said he's been using that thing for the last 40 years. His haircuts are all from the Flowbee.
Oh.
So there it is. George Clooney for president with the Flowbee. Everybody in America gets a free flow. No, everybody in the whole country gets a free Flowbee.
What are you giving away?
I'm giving away.
The
If
Groupon.
you
He
vote,
already said-
if you vote for me, then I will connect my tongue to your heart. Vote
Whoa.
Pipe Man.
Okay, I have
for
so much more to add to that. We'll have to do another episode.
Yeah, we have to, because we gotta get off in like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
So
sorry, I felt like I cut you off of Rebel too.
any final words, Rebel, before she rudely interrupted you? You have any final words? I know you guys only know like 5 in Louisiana.
Make sure to check out Nicole's Facebook. She needs more people. Like it. Make sure to check her
Thank you.
out on Facebook.
Juan,
Yes.
any final words from your community?
My community. No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Spokesperson
See,
you didn't know about.
that's what I love about the Hispanics. They just never want nothing from you, and they just want to do nice things for you. Unlike the rude Americans that want everything with you and don't want to do shit for you. Vote Pedro for president of the United States of America. Thank you. And like Walter Cronkite would say, good night. No, it's not good night. It's daytime. Well, it's probably nighttime somewhere.
Mhm.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere too.
It's happy hour somewhere.
But it's not Adventures of Pipeman anywhere anymore, because this show's over. Tune in every week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, W4CY Radio, W4CY.com, right here, The Adventures of Pipeman. With it. Thank you, Pipe Nuts, for helping out today. Thank you for Dr. Nicole Fortin for putting up with me and Rebel, because she's a pain in the ass too. And everybody else, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.